Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk. Rams lose the Super Bowl edition. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I know the last thing anyone really wants to do right now is relive yesterday's debacle. But there are some emotions and some feelings that still need to be addressed and, I guess, aired and vented. I would just like to thank all the Rams fans out there that are watching this, a lot of the legacy subscribers to this channel. You really made this season fun and great. And all the new subscribers that have just recently jumped on board. In fact, my sister subscribed yesterday. Taryn, just like the last game of the season. Little late there, but late and never. Better late than never. And Lele and Will and Stevie, thank you all for watching. And for all of the, if anyone who hasn't subscribed, please do so. Just want to throw it out there because, this isn't the end of Rams talk or the Rams. This team is poised for success for the next, next couple of years at least. So, it's kind of surreal, honestly. The game yesterday was just, the result of this game, the way the game went, was probably the last thought on anyone's mind in terms of how this game would actually go, the score. Reggie Bush said he thought the score would be 28-14 Patriots, and I laughed at that because I thought, well, that's ridiculous. 13-3 is ridiculous. The defense for the Rams, much maligned defense all year. What a flip in terms of regular season versus postseason. Rams defense throughout the regular season was kind of suspect, really stepped up in the postseason, whereas the Rams offense really got outcoached in this final game. I guess my initial thought walking out of the party yesterday was where was Todd Gurley? I know everyone's asking that, and I know there's been a lot of chatter of he's not healthy. He was just a decoy, talking up Todd Gurley the whole time. Was just a decoy. Now, I don't buy that. I don't buy that for one bit because he looked healthy. In fact, according to ESPN's Next Gen Stats, he was the fastest player on the field yesterday. Now, I really feel, and this is kind of, I think a lot of coaches that are offensive-minded coaches in this new era of football of throwing the ball and throwing the ball and throwing the ball, and running the ball has fallen out of favor. It hasn't been the sexy thing. And the Rams this year have gone away from running the ball at times. There would be drives, where they'd go like 4, 5, 6 plays without running the ball. And I understand you got to go with game flow, but, that just, to me, based on what the defense was presenting to the Rams yesterday, there was 2 things I was yelling at the TV about. Number one, every time the Patriots had it on third down, I was like, they're going to Edelman. I talked about it in my last video. Every third down, it's going to Edelman. And it did. And, the Rams defense was more of like a net, like, hey, we'll let them get those 5 to 10 yard plays, but we're not going to let them take the tops off. The second thing was run the ball. Now, I'm just going to go out there with some stats and some data about this game and what the Patriots did. And I really also want to give a tip of the cap to the Patriots defense. There's not much the Rams could have done. They had a great game plan for the Rams. And I really feel like what we've seen this year is when things don't go right for McVay in terms of the offense, he doesn't really have a good plan B. Like, he just keeps going with plan A and plan A and plan A. And the adjustment there, they're like, oh, I can just totally flip this, or I can read and react and make those adjustments. Really didn't see that happen in this game. But what the Patriots did is they did a thing. They did what the Lions did, and that's kind of been the blueprint. And what Matt Patricia did with the Lions is he put the safeties and the cornerbacks in like a quarters coverage, and it really just keeps everything in front of them. And in in quarters coverage, and also what the Patriots did was a lot of dime. So they also had 5 to 6 cornerbacks out there. And out of the 20 snaps when they're in dime, they sacked the Rams 3 times. And, one of the things that you can do against this when you're in dime, or defense is in dime, is throw some screens, some bubble screens. And what the Falcons did, the Patriots kind of did to the Falcons, who, when they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, do more of the outside zone scheme that the Rams do. And the Patriots were negating that, so they did a lot of crackback screens or crackback tosses, and that worked pretty well for the Falcons. So, I feel like if that knowledge, if McVay saw, this is what they did to the Falcons, and this is how the Falcons counter that, or, just kind of, I see this dime package over and over, 20 snaps, I'm going to run the ball against a dime. That's like the classic thing when you see a nickel or dime coverage. You want to take advantage of all the cornerbacks on the field, and so you want to run the ball. You're not having as many linebackers or linemen there to do that. And Gurley only had 1 carry out of 20 dime coverage snaps that they saw. They only ran the ball 1 time with Gurley out of 20 times they saw the dime coverage, and that's just not reacting. That's just not looking at it and going, okay. And Gurley had 10 carries for 35 yards. In my mind, I would have ridden Gurley and gone down with the ship on that. He would have had at least 20 carries. At least. You just got to force feed him, and if you just keep pounding Gurley, because they're bringing pressure, and if you run into that pressure, they're going to run right by him eventually. Not every play is going to be a big game, but, you have to make the defense adjust to what you're doing. And what the Rams kept doing was the play action and trying to find pockets in the zone. And Goff, let's just face it, Goff wasn't on, but a lot of it was the the pressure and the defensive looks. I don't really blame Goff for a lot of stuff. It wasn't like, excuse me, it wasn't like against the Eagles or the Bears, where he wasn't sharp with the ball. Where you had an open guy throwing it behind him, not giving the receivers catchable passes. He wasn't doing that, really. He just was looking into holding on the ball too long, and part of that was just they weren't adjusting. They kept doing the long routes. It's just like, I don't really want to put this on Goff. Obviously there's that play to Cooks in the end zone where he got it to him too late. That play where Cooks down the sideline could have caught it, but the hand was in there. So I don't really put that on Cooks. He basically had one hand. But DeAndre Hopkins would have caught that, I know. Or Edelman would have caught that. So the Rams, they ran 11 personnel 78% of the time in this game with a 40% success rate. Now, they ran 12 personnel as well with Everett and Higbee in there, and they had a 54% success rate when they were running that with the extra tight ends. So, I know this is revisionist history. You can't go back and do it, but during the game, I'm watching this and I'm going, pound the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball, bring in extra blockers, run at their blitzing, run at their cornerbacks, run up the middle. The second quarter, they had Gurley out almost the whole time, and they had C.J. Anderson in there. And I like C.J., but I felt like maybe he was trying to do too much of we're trying to keep the Patriots on their toes in terms of which running back we're using, instead of just saying Todd Gurley's the guy. He's going to get 80% of everything, and we're going to just run him until he goes. Now, I hate blaming refs, and the refs were not the reason why the Rams lost this game. Let's just make this clear. I'm not going to complain about it in that regard. However, there were a couple plays. There were 3 plays that I thought were just ridiculous, and the Rams were called for 9 penalties for 65 yards, and the Patriots were called for 3. I felt like there were a couple obvious, hey, New Orleans, sorry, here's a couple of calls your way. But the first one, when it was, 2nd and 14, and Brady threw the ball to, Burkhead in the backfield, and he just got hit right there, and they called that a foul. I honestly don't even know what the call was. To me, that was just, you can't play football anymore. He just tackled the guy. that to me was ridiculous, and that was a first down. I mean, granted, it didn't lead to a score, but that, that doesn't help. Then you had the play with Goff getting hit out of bounds, or like as he was going out of bounds, and I know he was in bounds, and typically I don't have that much of a problem with that play, but I know, and that if that was Tom Brady instead of Jared Goff, and if he got lit like that, that's a freaking flag, 100% of the time. And then the other one was the phantom holding call on John Sullivan. Todd Gurley ran up the middle for a 13-yard gain, and they called holding on Sullivan. So questionable. Like, Aaron Donald got held on at least 5 plays that I saw that they didn't call. And so I just felt that it's one thing to get like a pre-snap penalty. It's one thing to get an obvious holding call or this or that on a second down or whatever. But when these are on third downs, this really just screw the Rams. But the Rams should have won despite that. And the Rams had opportunities, and they just didn't adjust. And going forward into next season, I feel like, or I'm pretty sure and I'm pretty confident that Sean McVay he'll learn from this year. He'll learn that when I see this defense, and teams are going to have a game plan to stop it, but when I see these defenses and they're presenting these looks, this is what I have to do. And this is how I can switch it up. If this isn't going right, I can go here. If that's not going right, I can go here. Because if you want to talk about adjustments, the Patriots made an adjustment. That was the the key of the game. And it's called Hoss Y Juke. And they ran it 3 times in a row, and the third one was the pass to Gronkowski right at the goal line. And what it is you put 2 backs. So in this, they had Michelle and they had Devlin, and then you put 2 tight ends, and they had who's their other tight end besides Gronk? I can't remember, his name is escaping, but they had 2 tight ends, 2 backs on the field, and they ran it 3 times in a row, all for gains. Third one to Gronk, and that was something that would just not in their playbook, and the Rams didn't adjust to it. They kept running their base defense. And I'm pretty sure they knew it the third time around, but they just still couldn't stop it. I mean, it was a good throw, good catch. So you got to make adjustments. You got to adjust. And Wade Phillips, tip of the cap, he always makes adjustments, but he came in with his game plan on fire. And I mean, Tom Brady did not win this game for the Patriots. The Patriots defense and the Patriots defensive coordinators won this game for the Patriots. What the Rams did on Tom Brady was amazing. What they did on everyone was, even Edelman, he got his, but it was all kind of insignificant at the end. So, can't say enough about the D-line. Marcus Peters had big plays. Marcus Peters really ran in form. Barron and Littleton were all over the place. Sue and Fowler and Donald and Brockers. It was just a collective amazing defensive performance. And it said that the offense really just couldn't figure it out. The Rams were 3 for 13 on third downs. The Patriots were 2 for 12 or 2 for 13. The Rams only had 18 rushes. Now, Gurley he rushed for 3.5 yards per carry. That's not bad. I'm not saying you want your running back throughout the regular season to rush for 3.5 yards per carry, but for anyone to say the running game wasn't working, and it's also opportunities. If you keep going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, you don't have as many plays to run and rushes to get. But the Patriots didn't stymie the Rams' running game. The Rams just stopped running. If the Rams were averaging 2.1 yards per carry, then I'd go, okay, well, they're shutting it down. Or the Saints averaged 1.7 yards per carry. That's shutting down the running game. Rams' running game wasn't shut down. Even C.J. Anderson averaged 3.1 yards per carry, and that's, when he's on the field, you kind of know they're running with him. But, definitely not the result. If the Rams lost, that's fine. I can handle it, but the 3 points is always tough. The fact that it's New England again creating a great game plan for the Rams' high prolific offense sucks. Tough to swallow. This is a tough one. trying to avoid watching TV and sports coverage. But like I said, that was a defensive masterpiece between both teams. And, if I wasn't accustomed to the Rams scoring 33 points a game in the regular season, it wouldn't bother me. They could have scored a touchdown to Cooks. They could have had it. The game was theirs. The game, they could have won this game. They could have totally won this game. But, at the very end of it all, and I'm going to wrap it up with this, football is fun again for me and for Rams fans. How many years of darkness was there, and how many years of going into the season you knew you weren't going to win a Super Bowl. You knew it. And last 2 years, you go into the playoffs, the Rams go into the playoffs, and you're like, we can win the whole thing. And that's all you can ask for in sports, is to feel like you're in it. And this year, I felt like I was in it with all of you. This was a great year for me and for Rams Talk of meeting a lot of new people. Because when the Rams were in St. Louis, I mean, honestly, I didn't know anyone else really that was a Rams fan. I would go on the St. Louis Post-Dispatch website and their beat writer, Jim Thomas, and do Q&A mailbags with him. And, I just felt like the only Rams fans were St. Louis Rams fans and, maybe a handful of other people. But I really enjoyed being embraced by the Rams community on YouTube and on Twitter. And we all know, all you Rams fans out there know that, before we start trashing McVay and Goff and Gurley and this and that, appreciate these guys and know that we're built for long-term success. So even though we didn't get it this year, this is what we need to learn. That Goff is 24. We got time. We got time to do it. So free agency is upon us. I'll be creating a video in the next week or two about that. And then we'll get into the draft. But, I'm burned out. I'll be honest. Like, it's just been Rams has been consuming my life. I have 2 children. Didn't even know that. And now I got to go be a dad and focus on that kind of stuff. But anyways, I just wanted to thank everyone for watching. Don't be too upset because we all made new friends here. At least we're not Saints fans. They're bitter. They're so bitter. They're so bitter. Hey, Saints fans, if you watch this and you make it to the end of this video, just don't even say anything. Just don't. Because the Rams might have only scored 3 points yesterday, but it was 3 more points than the Saints scored. So I'll just leave it there. But anyways, thank you all for watching. If you want to subscribe, here it is. Last little thing, bing. Watch a video if you want up here. Boom. But also just enjoy these hours in your life you have back to focus on real things. And let's gear up for 2019, 2020. The Rams will get back there, I'm sure of it. But anyways, I love all you guys. Thanks for watching, and go Rams.